Your 7-month-old baby's 5:30 a.m. wake needs to be treated like an overnight waking rather than a start to the day. And that pretty much applies to any kind of early rising. It is an overnight waking and should be treated as such. Because what's happening here is that your first nap is at 7:30, 8 a.m. and it's going for 3 hours. And that is one of the causes of your 5:30 a.m. rise, is because your baby compensates with the first nap of the day for waking early. Now, if that works for you, that's absolutely fine. But you asked for some insight, so these are my thoughts. Now, I usually have babies getting out of their cot at 6:45, 7 a.m. and at 7 months, I would be having their first nap of the day starting at 9:30 a.m. And then the question becomes, so what do I do when they wake at 5:30? If you're treating it like an overnight waking, you resettle, and maybe you use a really low stimulation sleep training technique. And keep in mind that I would never expect a baby to necessarily go back to sleep, particularly when their body clock, that little internal alarm clock, is so used to going off at 5:30 a.m. Funnily enough, they haven't watched this TikTok and they don't know what the plan is. So what it becomes is about the act of delaying getting a baby up out of their cot. Delaying the things that signal to their brain that it's time to get up, like food, light, and socialization. Treating it like jet lag. And at 7 months old, I wouldn't be doing a bridging nap. You push right on through to your first nap at 9:30, 9:15 at the absolute earliest. I usually work to about a 2.5 hour wake window at 7 months old, maybe 2 hours 45. So if you've got a 4-hour wake window between a 3-hour nap and then a 1-hour nap, that's a big long wake window. And I get it, because you're trying to then get to a bedtime at 7:30 so that you don't have an early rise. But instead, what I would do is push the schedule and add in a third nap so that you still get to a 7:30 p.m. bedtime, but without these really long wake windows that are going to lead to overtiredness, which is going to cause overnight wakings, which is going to perpetuate early rising. We need to push that schedule to start later, in the sense of like a 6:45, 7 a.m. out of cot, 9:30 a.m. nap, and add in a third nap as sort of your insurance policy if those other 2 naps are a little bit dicey, while still getting you to an age-appropriate bedtime. Couple that with good feeds, milk feeds, solids, ideal sleeping environment, and then having a look at what's happening at bedtime in terms of self-settling, overnight wakings, and then how you can do less at 5:30 a.m. to delay the act in getting up.